Your hosts, Robert Parker and Nick Knutson, bring you American Football Stories.
But hey, one thing, looking in your background, I'm a Florida guy. I'm from the state of Florida, and the one thing I know about guys from the South is we don't love cold weather. And I know you're an Atlanta, Georgia guy, and I see you shake your head there, man. I know you're in Atlanta, Georgia. I always tell people I lived in New York for 4 years. Robert's up in New Jersey, but I always tell people winter's an option. You don't have to do this. You can opt out of winter. It's very optional. But you're from Atlanta. So I was a little surprised you ended up in Muncie, Indiana at Ball State. What was your recruiting process like?
Um, it was kind of odd because like I was getting offers. I had probably like 14 offers, but I come to Western Kentucky early, and they ended up dropping me like late in the recruiting process. So uh, it was due to my grades because ninth grade I didn't really have a strong year. I was still like just being a class clown and not mature for that transition to high school. So it just really messed me up. So going into 10th grade and all the years past that, I had to do summer school every year, every summer, while everybody else was enjoying their time, having fun. And senior year, most schools thought I wouldn't qualify. Like I had to go to JUCO or something. So I got dropped, but Ball State stuck with me to the end, and I was like, "Hey, that's loyal right there. Like
Yeah.
I can better program, so I'm gonna do whatever I need to do for that program." 4 years later, that championship, to all that, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's great loyalty. And we'll talk about the program here in a sec. Robert, if you want to jump in with the program questions.
Once again, thanks for joining us, Caleb. Great having you on. And just love that story. Just that recruiting story just coming out. You kind of see that time and time again, where a lot of athletes early on in their career don't have the grades, and they're kind of trying to make it up on the back end. But with that being said, Ball State head coach Mike New was hired a year before you arrived on campus. He played at Ball State and he coached throughout the arena leagues. How can you say, his coaching style and his impact led you to become a better player?
Just every day in practice, creating good practice habits and telling us that the effort needed to be 100% every day. When we first got there, it was guys there that were kind of cancers to the team, and like that's why we were losing so much because like it was dudes on our team that didn't even really have a desire to play. So like, why are you on the field if you don't have that desire? But Coach knew he kind of weeded all those guys out, and then we had a team that collectively wanted to play, and it turned out to flip around for us. And I just feel like he's a great coach. He kind of NFL minded because he did coach in the NFL a couple of years. So I feel like he developed us into having that mindset of being professional as well while we're on the field.
Yeah, so Caleb, so you speak of that, that NFL coaching influence. Mike knew he coached with Drew Brees and the Saints. So what, just like you said, you mentioned taking that NFL professional, bringing it over to the collegiate level. What else could you say that he impacted you on the field and off the field?
Off the field, my sophomore year, I kind of went through it with my injury. I had injured my Achilles, and he just talked to me on a level that was not like my coach, but like a friend. Like he was just really supportive in my dreams and goals and my health. So just off the field, he is a great guy as well. Couldn't ask for a better coach, to be honest with you.
Nah, that's some good stuff right there. Speaking of the coaching perspective, I just kind of want to jump into the competitive perspective of MAC football. Could you describe to our audience and the fans that's listening out there, the competition level that comes within the MAC, playing in the MAC? Because the narrative always surround the Power Five conferences, but the MAC really doesn't get no love. I mean, definitely on this podcast, it gets a lot of love, but could you just describe the level of competition within that conference?
I feel like it's very slept on. There's some guys in the MAC that can easily compete with Power Five guys, and I mean, it shows when we play them. Like they don't. Some teams get blown up, but some teams they stick with Power 5 teams or even beat them. So I just feel like people just need to open their eyes up. There's hidden talent in every conference. The MAC is one of them.
Hey, talk about some of the players you faced in the MAC there, Duke. You got, I mean, obviously we on the NFL level, you got Khalil Mack, you got Big Ben, Antonio Brown. I mean, the list goes on and on about how many great players come out of the MAC. And I'm originally from Ohio, so like I kind of like grew up watching a little bit of MAC football, paying extra attention. But when you get outside of that, Midwest footprint, I don't. You're right. They're totally slept on. Totally slept on. So a guy like you, I watch your tape. I hadn't watched a ton of Ball State. I didn't get to watch a ton of Ball State, down here in Florida. But I watch your tape. I'm like, damn, this guy is going to play at the next. It's very easy to see that you're going to have a successful career at the next level. But how did you? I know you got a couple opportunities, play on against some Power 5 teams and everything. But you got plenty of talent in there in the MAC. Who was the toughest player you went up against? I know that's kind of a crappy question because I mean I know it's a team sport, blah blah blah. But I mean, did you get any linebackers that hit extra hard, or like safeties that you dreaded playing against, or linemen?
You talking about on my team or
no,
just
individual player that you played against, that you competed against?
I would say a linebacker from Buffalo my freshman year. I don't know his name, but I think he was like number 4. He played for Buffalo. He was a pretty good linebacker. Everybody else got some decent people in the MAC, but I've never really been like, man, he hit me hard, because I've always like to try to deliver that blow before they deliver it to me. So
right.
Don't be nothing.
That's a good answer. Way to shut that question down. Thank you. That's good. That's a good answer. All right. What was your favorite road trip as a player? This is from a straight fan perspective here. We always like to know like what venues are cool to check out. What was your favorite road trip to play at?
I say when we played Indiana at the Colts Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Just a
pretty big,
different environment with all them lights, and just that big old stadium. Like, it was my first time playing in an NFL stadium, so it was just like a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, that was season opener a couple years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Outside of Ball State, if I'm a fan, one venue within the MAC I need to go visit outside of Ball State.
Toledo.
Glass Bowl.
Yeah, their stadium is fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
To check that out.
Definitely got to check that one out.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to American Football Stories podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, American Football Stories. We are working to grow our network on YouTube, and we'll love to have you subscribe. You can find us also on Apple Podcasts, on Twitter at American FB Story, and on our website, AmericanFootballStories.com. I am Robert Parker. My co-host is Nick Newson. This has been another episode of American Football Stories.